And welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam. He had a very good friend, Dimitri Palouzas, and of course, just about a month and a half ago, he passed away unexpectedly. And he was in the House of Representatives for District 74. And Governor Ivey said we're going to have a special election because that seat needs to be filled. And today we have with us Daniel Sparkman. And Daniel, you are a candidate for that House seat. First and foremost, congratulations, you're a new father.
I am.
A little baby boy born in January.
13 weeks old.
Wonderful.
Just right around the inauguration, wasn't it?
It was.
You were tossing some
It
balls
was
around.
Friday before inauguration on Monday.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh.
So we had rehearsal Sunday, and I had to go get them and bring them home from the hospital after our rehearsal for inauguration.
Absolutely.
Tell our audience what your position was at that time.
Well, I was press secretary for the governor, but I resigned in April so I could do this full time and put my complete heart into House District 74.
And you've got a lot of, you worked under Governor Bentley for a while also, didn't you? So you've been in state government for quite some time.
I spent 5 years, or 2 months shy of 5 years with the governor's office in various roles in the communications office, and that followed a 12-year career in local television.
Which is
That
nice.
gives you a great background for everything that goes on in the legislature as well. You know, I'm going to ask you this. What was it that made you decide to run?
It was a calling, first and foremost. Something in my heart in 2015, something in my heart made me work up plans for one day running for House District 74. I have a binder that I went and found in our basement, and it's been shoved away in a box since that for 4 years. And then when Representative Palouzas passed away, I just felt it on my heart that now was the time. I didn't have any plans to run. I didn't think it was going to be any time in the near future. My wife and I were looking at the future and where we were going to settle and land. We bought a house in Dalrata. So when he passed away, my wife and I spoke that night, and I said, I've been thinking about something today. And she said, I knew it. She said, I told my mom on the way up here, because they were out of town, she said, I told my mom that you were probably thinking about it and that I actually support you.
Wonderful.
And so that was the first indication. And then we just continued to pray for guidance and for signs, and just things happened along the way, and that really led us to make the final decision. Actually, I think a couple days before qualifying ended, that we would go ahead and get in the race.
Well, normally when you run for an office like that, you have things that you either want to create or you want to change. And share with us some of those things that you would like to make a difference in.
Okay, so my passion really is for the people, for individuals. So my 12-year career in television, I was able to be out in the community, helping people, telling their stories. That's what I love to do. I love to talk with people, and I love to help them any way I can. So that's my number one passion, is helping people. How can I do that? My best friend is in the Army, been in the Army 15 years, and he's active duty, and he has been deployed overseas a couple of times, but he's from Alabama, and he has to pay state income tax. So that is something, that's one of the first things I want to look at, is there a way that we can relieve active duty military officer or soldiers of having to pay state income tax if they are serving overseas? But besides that, it's education. I have a 13-week-old, as we've just discussed. I'm a product of the Montgomery Public School System, and I would love for him to be a product of the Montgomery Public School System. There's a lot to offer in this city. There's a lot of youth, and we've got to do something to bring our schools up to par and beyond that, so our children can get the proper education so they can have a good life and provide for their families down the road.
And I've often wondered, because education's a hot button for me. My idea is the highest paid person in the school system should be the teacher in the classroom.
Absolutely.
They should be the best qualified, paid the most money. But the problem we've got is we've got an upside down, we've got a funnel that goes this way with all the money here, and by the time you get there, there's, we don't have any money. Well, we need to kind of clean house, would you say?
You're absolutely right. Educators should be the highest paid public employees in the state of Alabama, not just in the county or the city or in the school, but educators, the people who teach our children day in and day out, they deserve to be paid for what they're doing. I mean, we depend on them 8 hours a day to take care of our children and teach them
Yes.
what they need to know to be productive citizens. So I absolutely agree. But beyond paying teachers, we've got to provide them the resources they need. We've got to
Right.
provide them the school
Oh, yes.
buildings that
Absolutely.
they
Well,
need.
and there's and like I say, when you get rid of all these layers, all that money's there.
Yes.
But we've just done everything where it's all departmentalized, and it's just, it's for naught. You've done a lot with the prisons. You've
have.
been firsthand in the prisons.
I have. I've been in 4 different prisons in the state of Alabama, and I've
Not
seen,
as a resident.
No, I was not a resident, a visitor.
They can't hold you.
I've had the opportunity over the last 5 years to visit 4 different prisons in Alabama, and it's been Limestone up in North Alabama. That is one of the better ones. Tutwiler's actually, the conditions there are pretty decent now. But I've also been in Holman and I've been in Staten. So I've seen a variety of conditions. And I'll tell you guys, we cannot keep inmates in conditions like this. They're packed 300 in a dormitory that's meant for 100. They're stacked
Right.
2 or 3 bunks high, and officers can't see all the way across the dormitory. That's where the problem is. We've got to reconfigure or rebuild or build new. We've got to do something with the prison infrastructure. And of course, I support the legislature passing the budget that included $40 million for new correctional officers.
But we need to get them to the point where we, for lack of a better word, segregate, so that if somebody's a real hardened criminal, they're here, and if a person's got a
Right.
drug problem
Yes.
or a little bit of mental health problem,
It's completely different. That's right.
Absolutely,
That's right.
absolutely.
Well,
But-
that, you know, there's another topic, and that's health care. We've got a lot of work to be done on health care,
Yes.
especially pediatrics and mental health. And what are your feelings looking at the expansion of Medicaid?
I completely understand that it is definitely something we need to look at. But to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars, we've got to look at the best way to finance that and if it's sustainable. Because you can increase it to where we go up to 200 or 300% of the poverty line and all those people can be in the Medicaid program. But how do you pay for that 10, 20 years down the road? Because that number is just, the number of people will just continue to grow. So there are options. I mean, we can see what's left in the budget right now. Medicaid actually is asking for less money for next year, which is a blessing. But again, is it sustainable? I mean, do we pay for it with the lottery? Or does the lottery go to education? So these are all options that have to be thought out. They have to be discussed with experts, and we have to make a good decision before we move forward.
Good. Well, Daniel, thank you so much. The election is on June the 11th.
Yes, sir.
You vote where you normally would vote for a statewide
That's
voting.
correct.
If
That's
you're going to
correct.
vote for anybody
The
on a
state
statewide
election.
basis, it's on June the 11th. How can our viewers find out more information about you, or even get a chance to talk to you, or have you come visit them?
Well, you can reach out to me at daniel@danielsparkman.com, or you can just go to danielsparkman.com and fill out the form there.
Okay, great. Well, we appreciate it, and just
Thank you.
remember this, June the 11th is right around the corner. Make sure you do your homework.
Vote.
Find out and make sure that the candidates know what it is they're doing. It's not just something, oh, this is an open seat, I can just jump in here. And we'll be right back right after this.